Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be showing you guys an easy apple pie recipe. It is my first time making apple pie, so if any of you have any tips or pointers after watching this video, please feel free to leave it down in the comments. Other than that, let's jump right into it. So here you see me using a potato peeler to get the skin off the apples. Some people like the skin on their apples with apple pie. I personally don't. So I say to each his own. If you like the skin, keep them on. If not, use a potato peeler, peel them off, or a knife, whatever you desire. So I got this little tool from the Dollar Tree for $1.25. It actually worked better than I expected. It took the middle of the apple right off, and it made cutting the apple so much easier. You'll see in the next clip that I took the slices and I cut them again down the middle because I just wanted more of a thin slice. These cut them pretty thick, which is okay, I guess, for some, but I just prefer the apples be just a little bit smaller, so I went ahead and did my own cutting. So this is where I added my regular sugar, my dark brown sugar, which is my first mistake, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. I also added cinnamon and nutmeg here. Here I added the lemon juice, about half a lemon. And here you see me adding 2 pinches of salt. Okay, so I just mentioned that I made my first mistake doing this apple pie. The mistake is I used dark brown sugar instead of light brown sugar. Now they taste the same, but they look different. I can already see by me mixing these apples that it was going to come out the color that I didn't want it to come out. I knew it would look more burnt than anything, so now I know why it was important to use light brown sugar instead of dark brown sugar. Now, the recipe that I had, it did say light brown sugar, but they didn't have any at the store, so I thought it wasn't going to be a big difference. But in color, it made it a big difference, and you'll see later on in the video. Also, I forgot to mention that before I started mixing everything up, I should have added half a cup of water to this mixture. So when you're following these steps, make sure you add half a cup of water. After you mix everything up, I say let it sit for about 5 minutes at least, and then pour it in a pot. Then put your pot on like a medium heat and let it start to cook those apples. Remember, you don't want the apples mushy, you just want them soft. Alright, so here's my second mistake. I added the butter at this step when I should have waited. Don't worry, at the end of the video, I'm going to go over all my mistakes and show you the right way that I should have done it. Y'all, I forgot to mention, the aroma from these apples smelled so good. It smelled just like apple cinnamon oatmeal. It smelled really good. This is the part where you want to add the cornstarch. Don't do too much. I do feel like I put too much at this point. But the cornstarch will thicken the liquids up and it'll make it more thicker and not so watery. So I covered the apples and I set them in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes. Really, you don't have to put them in the refrigerator, but I was trying to speed time up. So I put them in the refrigerator just so that they could cool down. And while they were in the refrigerator, I was putting the pie crust in the pan. And you'll see I'll be cutting out the other one to go on top of the pie. And just a FYI, my counters are completely clean and sanitized. I do them after every step, so that's fine. So if you see me putting food, cutting food, prepping food, whatever on my counter, don't worry, my counter is clean and so are my hands. Now moving on, you see me using the pizza cutter to cut the pie crust. Yes, you can do this with a knife. I choose to do it with a pizza cutter. To each his own, whatever makes you happy, whatever floats your boat. So yeah, it's just an easier way to me, I guess. I'm kind of mad about how my lines came out. I did not cut in straight lines, but it's okay. The next one that I did came out much better. But anyways, this is just me showing you guys how I put the apples in the pie before I put the top of the crust on. I feel like now is the perfect time to address my first mistake again about using the dark brown sugar. Here you can kind of see what I'm talking about the color. For me, I like apple pie, and for me, the apples here are just way too dark. And I feel like using the light brown sugar, which I tried it out and I'm right, it made a big difference. The light brown sugar made it a lot lighter. This was really dark in color, and I just feel like apple pie, or the apples in apple pie, shouldn't be that dark. And here I'm just playing around with the pie, trying to create like a pattern for the top of the pie. To me personally, it just looks neater with the little crisscross zigzag lines, whatever you call it. So that's what I'm doing here, trying to get it right. And here you see me cleaning up the edges of the pie. I'm ripping any excess off and then trying to just smooth out the edges. So I guess this step that I'm doing now is called an egg wash. Some people use a whole egg, some people use just the egg yolk, some people use just the egg whites. Here I'm using a whole egg, and I was told that it makes it more golden brown, give it a little bit more crispy taste at the top. So yeah, I just cracked the egg and I'm just basically painting it on the crust. And this was the pie after the egg wash, and it was getting ready to go in the oven. This is when it was turning brown. Wasn't quite done yet, but it was definitely getting there. Okay, so this is officially the moment of truth. The pie was done. It didn't look that good to me because of the dark color of the inside of the pie, but it didn't taste bad at all, and I'm being honest. Here's a picture of some vanilla ice cream with the pie, but in the next clip, I'm going to explain everything to you and do a redo. So I like to try new recipes and redo that recipe, fixing all the mistakes I made the first time, which is what I did this time. I followed a certain recipe, everything came out fine, but the first mistake that I made, like I said earlier, is using dark brown sugar. So I went ahead and bought some light brown sugar and I redid the recipe, and you'll see in the next couple clips how it came out. It came out 100% better to me looking at it. Like I said, the pie was never bad. It tasted good. It just didn't look pleasing to my eye personally. So I just wanted to kind of lighten the apples up, because I knew if I went somewhere and got an apple pie and the apples looked that dark, I would probably pass. So I just wanted to redo this with the same ingredients, use the same steps, but just light brown sugar, and it actually came out amazing. So another thing that I did on the second time making the pie, after the egg wash, I put a little bit of cinnamon on top and then put it in the oven. The first time I didn't do that. This time I said, let me give it a little razzle dazzle, and I put a little bit of cinnamon on top after the egg wash. So yeah, on the next couple clips, you'll see how that second pie came out. You'll notice how much lighter the apples were. And like I said, the first one was good, but the second one was better. Always got room to improve. I almost forgot to mention that the second time around, when I was doing the crust on the edges, I used a fork just to give it like ridges around the edge. Again, just to make it look nice. Okay, and here is just a couple of clips of that second apple pie that I made. Like I said, you can see the apples are very much lighter than the first apple pie that I made. But yeah. I do want to say thank you for watching this video, especially if you watched the full video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a happy Thanksgiving.